or a good lunch, that would be an adjective that describes the lunch, right? Okay, like a ball is a thing, but a blue ball is descriptive of the ball. All right, so now let's look at your other one real quick too. Okay, now each. So when we have words that replace a noun, okay, like if we don't want to call Xavier by name and we want to though say he did something, so like if we use the word each to replace something else, what would each be?
It plugs a word in so you don't have to keep saying the same word again.
And what part of speech is that?
Pronoun. No, it's not a pronoun. Is that right?
You're brilliant. You're brilliant. Absolutely. It's a pronoun. Thank you, sweetie. You did great. Go ahead. Why don't you come on up and make that change from Oreo? That was so fabulous. Did everybody hear what he said?
Yeah.
Pronoun. You plug that word in so you don't have to say the actual thing every time. It replaces a noun. Dude, you're getting brilliant at this stuff, man. All right, Xavier. Wait a minute. Did you already do one? Let's get somebody that didn't do one yet. Kaylee, come on. Oh, she said preposition. To is a preposition. Remember, prepositions, they describe, they give us a relation in time and space. Going to there, doing it after then. So she said to is a preposition. That's perfect. All right, so we have 3 more words. Of, boys, his. Who wants to give one of those a shot? How about somebody that hasn't gone yet? Wayne, come on up. Hey, where's your notebook? Let's go ahead and get caught up, okay? Let's love it. All right, I'm sorry. I'm boys.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Boys. Person, place, or thing. Are boys a person, place, or thing? They sure are. All right. How about the last 2 words now? Of and his. And you guys are getting these parts of speech down like crazy. You can go through and you can just look at things and look at sentences and know which parts of speech you're dealing with. Are you ready to do one? Come on up. You're usually an ace at this, so I'm dependent on you. Think. Hey, have confidence. Have confidence in your instincts. You just told me something. Come on, stick to it. So smart.
Yeah.
Because if I don't want to keep saying Anthony's, can I plug in that word and say his? Absolutely. Last word. JJ, come on up.
Yeah.
Dude, you should be teaching this class. You got parts of speech down. I'm going to tell you what, I told your mom that when you came in for your conference. I told her, I said, JJ, whenever we do parts of speech, whenever we work on our DGPs, he's right there every time. That's perfect. Again, of preposition. You guys are brilliant. All right. Now, let's go ahead. Who can tell me what we're moving on to? Who can help me out? Riley? Okay, DRP Day 2 tasks. So what do we need to be doing right now? Go into your DRP sections, correct? Okay? And you should have your text. JJ, would you pass these out, please? Text summary time. What I want you to do today is I want you to take a few minutes to work on these text summaries by yourselves. And then after we do that, we can come back together and go over it. Okay? Does that sound good? Is everybody on board with that? You want to do it that way? No, Maliki's not here today, so just bring hers back. Non-fiction. Let's get our terms first. Let's think. Everybody, real quick. Thinking caps. Okay? Let's take a deep breath and let's think a little bit. All right. Fiction means what?
Fake.
Fake. Not real. Not true. Non-fiction means what? Real and true. Okay. Do we think that this story that we read was fiction, not true, or non-fiction, true? So now, we think this was a true story? Hold on one second. I'm sorry?
I think it
Okay, you think it was a true story. Okay, does anybody else think anything else? Riley?
I think it's fiction.
Okay, you think it's fiction. All right, now let's see. So we've got, okay, now you stand back up. Okay, so you say it's a true story. You say it's a fictional story. Why do you think it's a true story?
because it can happen in real life.
It could happen in real life. Why do you think it's a fictional story?
It's realistic fiction. It could happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
Okay, so you're both kind of right, right? Because really, it's a situation that could happen. Sure. Do we think that there could be a group of kids in school that get environmentally conscious and they want to start a recycling drive? Do we think that sounds pretty reasonable, likely? Sure. But do we know that there were really kids named Kim and Alan and that she really cut her foot? I mean, do we know that? Do we know who these people are? So do we know that this really happened? No. So it is, you're both partially right, but it is fiction. So there are some made up parts to it, but it's realistic fiction. So you answered that correctly. Fiction, and it is realistic, and we just gave that answer for everybody. Hold on.
Look at you so cool.
Oh, I always do that, don't I? Okay, sorry. That dash throws me off. I'm sorry. Yes, Wayne. I can't hear you. Oh, okay, so everybody was checking me out? Okay. Alright, realistic fiction. You guys are really, really smart. You picked that out, and you knew, though, that you were on the right reasoning, too, Xavier, because you were like, yeah, this is a real scenario that could likely happen in real life, and that absolutely could. Alright, so that's really, that's a good reason for it to be realistic fiction, right? It could happen today, right? Not historical fiction like it was something that happened way back when, but it could really happen when? Not right now. Do we have problems with recycling Yeah, unfortunately, because that camera's on, I'm not sure that might mess up its lighting, so let's leave all the lights on, okay? But normally, yes, I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. So what was the setting of the story? Yeah, some of the parts happened outside, but what would you say the primary focus was? Yeah, at their school, because their efforts were really, these were classmates at school. They got together, the classes, to begin doing some efforts for better recycling awareness. Now, there were some things that sometimes, you can change settings, obviously, throughout the course of a story. And sure, some things did occur outside, absolutely. So you could say the school, you could say at the park, we talked about picking up trash late. There were some different things, but the main story was, the main setting was in the school. All right, now, what point of view was this story told from? Wayne? Third person. Does everybody agree that it's third person? Okay. Kaylee said she agreed. Kaylee, all right, so we have to answer this question, but then there's a way that we can kind of find out what person it is. What told you it was going to be third person, Kaylee? Okay. She looked at some pronouns, like they, he, she. That tells us that the narrator's where? Yeah, he's outside of the story, and it's a third person story, so...
You said second, third.
Yeah, third person.
No, I thought you said second, fourth.
Oh, you want me to insert the whole thing? Okay, sorry. Very good. Okay. Excellent. You guys are doing so well. I mean, honestly, you guys, I'm so proud of you because this is something we've only been doing this part on our own for just what, a couple, 2-3 weeks now? And you guys are coming up with everything. You're really picking out all the details. You guys are really doing great. All right, list 2 key details that occurred in the story. Kaylee?
They had noticed that to their school and
Okay, so they decided to push recycling at their school and in their community. So is that an important part? And is
Yeah.
that an important point? Yeah, because that has a lot to do with things. So Kim and Alan started a recycling drive. Okay? Really important part of this, because that really, a lot of this stuff centers around that later on, a lot of the details. Okay, so hit me with one more key detail that we found in the story. Xavier?
Nah, I didn't run out, no.
Well, you know, I mean, there's nothing, you know.
Well, I think, like, collect old papers.
Okay,
I
well,
think it's that.
okay, now listen, that's an important detail. You're part of that, part of that is an important detail. Who was collecting papers?
Yeah, man,
Right, but who did they get to start doing that?
the teacher.
Yeah, their school. So,
Yeah.
so by the end of this, was it important that Kim and Alan got their school involved in this recycling drive? They got the entire 5th grade, then they got the whole school, and by the end, the school was actually now collecting what? Plastic bottles, soda containers, and the papers instead of throwing them away. So let's say another key detail. They got the whole school involved.
I put some right there.
Yeah, that's fine. But you were right. They got them picking up some trash. They got them collecting these papers right there at the school lunch line. Makes sense, instead of throwing everything away that you're using to be recycled, they're collecting it in bins. Teachers at the copy machine, my goodness, how much paper do we throw away all the time, or classes? So they got their whole school involved. Very good. All right. In this, who's the main character?
Kim and Alan.
Yeah, Kim and Alan. They're kind of hand in hand in things. We did have some other supporting characters in there. Can anybody give me the name of just one? Yeah, Beth was one. There's maybe another one. Lee. Wow, you really were into this story, Xavier. In fact, you know what? You're a superstar on this activity, my friend. You're a superstar in this activity. Thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and think about this. Let's just think about a couple of traits maybe that these kids possess. What do you think is something that you could, Ariel, what do you think is something that you could say about these kids? They were helping our community. They were helpful, right? So they were helpful for sure. And what's one other thing that you could say about these kids, Kaylee? They like to recycle, and maybe they like to recycle was something they were doing, but what does that tell us about them? Oh, they weren't wasteful, and maybe they were conscientious, or they were very, very well, obviously intelligent, I think, but you know, maybe they certainly had a sense of like you said, maybe you know, helpfulness, and well, we already said helpfulness, but like being socially conscious and like conscious of like the environment and things like that. So are those good things or those negative things? Those are all good. So I think helpful, and then maybe Kaylee had said yeah, they were not wasteful. Also, you could have said maybe they were leaders. You know, maybe they were you know, they were groundbreakers, trendsetters. You know, they were out there doing things. They were kids that were about action. Now, we didn't have a lot of direct information and characterization information. Remember that the author necessarily told us directly about them, like Kim was a tall girl who would, you know, but we had some indirect characterization information that we could determine by the actions of these kids, by things that they said, they thought, they felt, they did, that we could determine what they were like, right? We could determine their traits from that, correct? And that's what we did. Super. All right. So here's a question. How would you and maybe one of those main characters be alike? Tell me something that maybe you have in common with those main characters, Xavier.
Helpful.
Yeah, you also, hey, you know what? You are very helpful, my friend. I can definitely say that about you. Yeah, okay? And, you know, good, thoughtful, they were thoughtful, good. So, I'm not gonna tell you what to put there as far as what you might have in common with these people, but, you know, socially conscious, you know, might be one that I have. I try to think about other people, and, so, you know, I just, you know, definitely always like to try and figure out how maybe I relate to these characters. How would you maybe be different from these main characters, JJ?
We clean up, but we don't do like big stuff like that.
Okay, so you don't quite go all that way that,
No.
that maybe they do. Okay, so JJ said, you know, I'm not as motivated maybe,
But we do clean up.
but you do keep clean. Well, that's nice. You should. Anybody have anything else? Just go ahead and keep that. That's fine. Okay, so what do you think the author wrote this for?
Informative.
You think he wanted to inform us? Yeah, I think for sure he did. He wasn't heavily persuasive in it necessarily, and it wasn't just for entertainment. There was definitely a little message there in it. And what was that thing? What do you think the main message of this story is?
Recycle stuff.
Oh, hold on. Okay, JJ, so you're up here. What was it?
Recycle stuff.
Yeah, I think in a nutshell, people should recycle because, and if you want to expand on that, Anthony, go ahead and add to that. I know you had something else. Is that what you were going to say exactly? Okay, so it's important to recycle. Hey, folks, very good work. Put these in with your text in your GRP section. We'll pick them back up tomorrow in day 3. Outstanding work. You all are doing a fabulous job. All right.